Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. We are live. Get involved in all the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news and basking in the glory of a 3-2 win over Ipswich. A bit of a relegation 6-pointer. I think that's ended the slight conversation about relegation, even if it was a thing. So hopefully we can all move on from that and focus on moving to the dizzy heights. What are we now, 14th in the table? Who knows? Maybe we'll even reach mid-table by the end of the season. The world is our oyster. Make sure you are letting me know what you think about the result, what you think about the performances, and where you think this leaves Manchester United. I mean, you can't look too much into a game at home against Ipswich, but there were some positive signs for me. Listen, we should be beating Ipswich at home. I get that. It's not like, wow, get the bunting out. But we went down to 10 men. We have seen it this season many times where we struggled against the so-called lesser teams in the Premier League, particularly at Old Trafford. I was going about the Southampton game where I know we won, but we were outplayed for about an hour. So it was good to get a result. And it was good to see United side at least fighting. Listen, I know there's massive issues around the quality of this side. I'm not going to deny that. But the least you can expect from any team representing Manchester United is that they show energy and effort and they put in a shift. And they all did that yesterday. Went down to 10 men and kept going. And that's the bare minimum. Sometimes we haven't even seen that at Manchester United. So I know it is, slim pickings and it's not exactly anything to shout home about too much, but I'm glad we did get a result. I'm glad the lads stepped up, and I thought there were some good performances there last night, and mainly the fact that was just getting that win and just giving Ruben Amorim a little bit of breathing space as well. I know he's not I don't expect him to get sacked or anything this season. I'm not being melodramatic, but you want Ineos to buy into what he's trying to do. And the way to do that is to get results. And hopefully this can be, I've said it before, but the start of a bit of a run. Alejandro Garnacho is the main talking point. Before we get into that, I'll just get into let's get into it and I'll get to comments in a minute. It says here, Amorim will talk to Garnacho about angry reaction to early substitution. This is from Jamie Jackson in The Guardian. It says here, Ruben Amorim will talk to Alejandro Garnacho after the winger stomped, not done a bit of stomping for a while, mate, down the tunnel on being sacrificed by the head coach following Patrick Dorgu's red card in Manchester United's 3-2 win against Ipswich. Yeah, it wasn't great, was it, Patrick Dorgu's performance last night? A bit of a mix-up with him and Andre Onana for the goal. Then he gets a red card. I do feel for him, and he'll learn. He's a good player. You can see he's a good player. I don't want to be too harsh on him. It was just one of those nights, wasn't it, for him? So the manager made a decision, decided to take off Alejandro Garnacho, and the reaction where Alejandro Garnacho, was Jamie Jackson there, said stomp down the tunnel, has sort of generated a little bit of news. Here's what Ruben Amorim had to say. We've got a clip from the presser.
Just to clarify, you're not unhappy with Alejandro Garnacho that's going down?
You are making a connection with the Rashford, right?
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. What I'm saying is that I'm going to talk obviously with Garnacho about that. So I will talk about that if you want in the next press conference.
So he's sort of being his usual charismatic, open and on himself there in the old Ruben. Listen, with the Garnacho thing, I might be wrong, right? But I was stood where I stand. I could see the player, and you could see him sort of walking off down the tunnel. Now, he seemed to me to signal to the bench that he was going to get changed, that he was wet. I know that might sound unlikely or crazy or whatever, but that I thought he went. I was looking at him, and I thought he looked at the bench and went like that. As in, because it was raining, I'm soaked, so I'm going to go and get changed. That's what I thought he was doing. I thought it was that, or that was at least his explanation. I mean, he might have been a bit annoyed, but that's what, when I was looking at Alejandro Garnacho, because I'm right near the tunnel, I looked over to him because I thought he's not going to sit down. He's going, and you can see straight away he's walking off. So I was looking at him, and he seemed to signal, like, I'm getting changed. That's what I thought anyway. Let me know in the chat in the comments, do you care? Do you think that was the case? What do you make of it all? It's a little bit of a storm in a teacup, isn't it, really? I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't want to focus too much on the negatives, but it's become a talking point, whether we like it or not. It has been picked up by the papers. The manager's been asked about it, and now it's in danger of becoming a thing. Garnacho himself has responded. Well, not responded, but he's posted that. I think this is on Instagram. I think this was last night. I mean, not much to say really there is. I think it was on his Instagram story. I mean, that's just a picture of him. I think that's him maybe coming off. So, I don't know. It's a difficult one to gauge, isn't it? Yes, you are to sort of see a sign of unity and players on board, even if they don't like the decisions the manager's making. But on the other, and you know what, you don't want to see petulance. But on the other hand, I'm not sure it is. I don't know. It's a bit of a grey area. Loads of people in the chat: Heaven Soul, Maurice Marshall, Mick Hollahorn, a fool named Huggy says I wouldn't. He says I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be too chuffed being pulled off before half time. Much ado about nothing. Probably, yeah. I personally, I'm not fussed. That's my reaction to it. You may have a different one. I'm not bothered. Can you hit that like button as well, please, people? Let's smash a like. CBeasy says we should want players who are annoyed to leave the pitch. Every player needs to believe in themselves. He just thought he still had more to offer. Yeah, fair enough. I get that. I actually was surprised he took Garnacho off. I wouldn't have taken Garnacho off, but you can't really argue with the manager when he did that change, and we ended up winning the game with 10 men. You know, he obviously got it right. Bruno spoke after the match. Bruno got player of the match. I've seen some people trying to make a mischief out of this, but he's sort of talking about we know what we have to do. You can see it here. Me and Harry Maguire have been here for a while already, so we know that we have to stick to what we've been trying to do in training and what we're supposed to do. It could be that you feel in moments that it's not working, but for some reason the manager wants us to do that, and if he wants us to do that, the coaches, watch so many games, they prepare themselves. We have so many staff, not only the ones who came with him, but the ones who are already here. We have great people behind the team to work on that, so if they do that in the right way, we just have to come on the pitch and show it. As I said, we need to have more confidence and be brave to show our character and our qualities. So I like what Bruno's saying there. I saw some people going, is he questioning Amorim? I don't think he is. I think he's sort of saying, look, you know, we're all in this together. The coaches know what they're doing. The manager knows what he's doing, knows what he wants, and it's up to us to sort of deliver it. I thought Bruno had a good game, and we obviously got player of the match. It wasn't an amazing performance by many Manchester United players last night, but the fact we dug in, the fact we battled, and the fact we got a couple of goals from set pieces as well, which is a bit of a refreshing change. We'll take the wins where we can get them. Stephanie Griffiths says, good morning, Jay. Legend to you as well, Stephanie. Make sure you're hitting that like button, please, people. Marcus says, who does Garnacho think he is? He's a little bit annoyed at Garnacho's reaction. Also, Akash K says, I can't stand Garnacho ego, Jay. He's having a difficult season, Alejandro Garnacho, and he's probably just, if he has reacted in that way, if it is purely, you know, annoyance and anger, he's probably just feeling it this season because he's not really got going, has he? And it's been a long time since he scored. You look at him when he first burst onto the scene, a player full of confidence, helped get some goals, helped get some wins. Last season he struggled. This season he's struggling. It's not been a happy time for Alejandro Garnacho. I still think we should keep him. The rumours have been going in the summer, but let's not sort of sugarcoat it. It's not been a great season. Rio Ferdinand's had some criticism. It says here, asked whether Joshua Zirkzee was one of those who might fight the head coach system. Ferdinand responded, no, the late Maguire, Højlund, it's not their game. So I think he needs to find those types of players with the capabilities of carrying out not only tactically what he wants, but the physicality is equally important. We saw a bit of physicality, didn't we, from Manchester United last night? Even when it kicked off, was it Liam Delap who pushed over Manuel Ugarte and all the players were up for it? It's what you want to see. You want to see a bit of fight, but he's sort of questioning whether some of these players, whether they've all got it. What else is saying on that article? Sorry, is there a bit more to it? If we can get to the top of it here, see what the actual crux of it is. We'll get there eventually. Rio Ferdinand names the £230 million quartet of Man United stars who do not fit Ruben Amorim's tactical style. So that's what he's sort of talking about there. It's maybe not the physicality as well, but also the tactical style. Do they fit that style? At the minute, it's looking a little bit disjointed, in it, if we're being brutally honest. And whilst the win is a win, you can still see there's issues there. I do worry about the Fulham game. I know I'm being a bit pessimistic in a minute. I'm sorry. Forgive me for all the negativity. I'm trying to be positive, but I don't want to be deluded. But I do worry about this Fulham game. The Cups have offered us a bit of salvation this season, and is it Fulham at the weekend in the FA Cup? You want to keep going, and we should be beating Fulham at home. I know I say that about every game, but we should. We'll see anyway. I don't want to be too sort of pessimistic. Following on, so Rio Ferdinand's question relates to Zirkzee, I think Maguire, in terms of whether they fit the style tactically, which is, might seem a little bit odd questioning two players who've just scored. But we've got some stats here that may sort of back up the fact that they had good games. De Ligt, half by numbers versus Ipswich. 100% tackles won, 95% pass accuracy, 39 passes attempted, 37 passes completed, 6 ball recoveries, 2 clearances, 1 interception, 1 block, 1 goal. characters. That's obviously, if that's a half, that's got to be the first half, isn't it, if that's the goal. Also, Xerxes. Again, I think, is this the first half? 100% tackles won, 5 duels won, 4 ball recoveries, 4 dribbles, 2 interceptions, 1 clearance, 1 shot. And then Maguire, 7 clearances, 5 out of 6 aerial duels won. That's his game, not his half. 3 out of 3 ground duels won, 3 blocks, 3 shots attempted, 3 shots on target, 2 tackles, 1 out of 2, 1 goal, match winner. He's scored a few goals this season. He's not been prolific by any stretch of the imagination, but is it Porto and Leicester? He got important goals as well. So I think Harry Maguire should be getting more goals than what he does, because he gets his head on a lot of things in the opposition box as well. He gets his head on a lot of corners, but he doesn't score that many goals. So it's good to see him scoring a few goals. It's not been all plain sailing, has it, for Harry Maguire this season? There was a time like a few weeks ago where people were going, oh, look, Harry Maguire, he's been great. He's come back into the side after all the dramas he's had, and he's really smashed it. Then he had a few games where he was a little bit ropey on it. I don't think he covered himself in glory against Everton even recently. But much better performance against Ipswich. Got his goal as well. So give him credit where credit's due. Let me know in the chat and the comments. What do you make of... You can talk about last night's performance, about the players I've mentioned, about Garnacho, about some of the criticism some of these players are getting, about what the manager said. I want to hear what you've got to say about it. Mustafa Mugarab says, Dorgu been good. It was just the tackle. That tackle. Yeah, I mean, the goal was a bit of a mess up, wasn't it? To be honest with you, between him and Onana, I think they both have to take some responsibility, because Onana probably doesn't need to rush out of towards the end of his edge of his box the way he does, but also Dorgu's got to be a little bit more aware. You can't just say, oh well, I wasn't expecting the goalkeeper to do that. You have to be aware of what is going on around you. I think with Dorgu, I'm less concerned because he's new to the team. We've seen signs of what he's about. Andre Onana, for me, is a bit of an issue. It really is. I think his form's absolutely fallen off a cliff. And he just seems to be so nervy, and he seems to make those around him nervy. I really do worry about Andre Onana, because it wasn't that long ago we were talking about him being one of the best goalkeepers in the league. I think his form was showing that earlier on in the season. And the issue you've got with Andre Onana at the minute is, I've said this earlier, last season I thought he did okay. Came in, replaced someone like David De Gea, who'd been our first choice goalkeeper for, 11, 12 years, whatever it was. Massive shoes to fill. Did all right. Had some ropey ones. I think in the Champions League in particular, wasn't great. More or less cost us our Champions League, our being in the Champions League, more or less cost us that. In the league, his form picked up. He had a few ropey ones, and it picked up towards the end of the season. Had some good performances. You look at Anfield in particular, 1 or 2 others as well. Then there was a few games where you're like, not great. I thought in the FA Cup final, got away with it a little bit with the Doku goal. I thought that was his fault. Should have done better. So you're looking at it going, okay, this season you need to kick on. Yeah, you need to see a little bit more from him. He's had his first season, like there's no excuses now. Now we want to see you kick on, we want to see better performances, we want to see you show us what you're about, and sort of, cement your place in the United first team and show that, you can fill David De Gea's boots. Unfortunately, he's done anything but that. I think he's having a real tough time of it in a minute on Joe Onana. You can sense it in the crowd as well. Everyone's a bit nervy with him. I can sense it, I think, with the defenders. You can just see it himself. He seems to have lost a little bit of confidence and just seems all over the place. And I wonder what Ruben Amorim's going to do. I think the one saving grace for Onana is they've got so many other issues to fix at Manchester United. You might look at the goalkeeper and think, actually, do we just stick with what we've got? Because we have to bring in a striker. We probably need another wing-back, probably need another midfielder. I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Am I being harsh? Am I being soft? What do you think? Dave Grant, he's not sitting on the fence. Onana has to go. Nathan Sayer says Onana is basically De Gea minus the reflexes. Spotless Leopard says he's throwing games. Akash K says, have you noticed how long it takes Onana to take a goal kick as well? He takes the absolute biscuit. Jamie Chambers says Obama? Hey? Barack Obama is in goal for Manchester United. No wonder we've been struggling. Obama's highlight reel, I think he means Onana, showed him parrying the ball back into 6-yard area, and we're seeing the same here. Love his vibe, but worried he won't cut it. Stephanie Griffiths pointing out about the lack of likes. Hit the like button, please, people. Kamikaze Tucker says Onana is a con. One fluky season with Inter in the Champions League, and everyone thought he's the SHIT. I think there's a little bit more now. He did all right at Ajax as well, didn't it? And also, a fluky season seems a little bit harsh. I don't know if can you have just a fluky season? He was had a good season. He played really well. Let's not kid ourselves. He got onto the Champions League final. Was very good in the Champions League. I thought he even played well in that final as well. Bit unlucky not to be on the winning side. But he's been woeful recently. So, yeah, I think there might be a bit of a conversation going on there. The issue you've got as well is Bayern Day is injured and there's question marks around him. He's had a few ropey ones, hasn't he? There's not an easy answer here for Ruben Amorim. I reckon Ruben Amorim's just sort of looking at his squad and thinking, how have we spent so much money on so many players who ain't up to it? You look at the money we spent on Onana, was it around 50 million quid or something like that? Could have got him on a freer season early, obviously we didn't. Spent around 50 million quid, a lot of money for a goalkeeper, massive question marks there. We spent 60 million quid or whatever it was on Mason Mount. He's been constantly injured. Okay, we didn't know he was going to get injured, but we could have got him on a free if we'd have waited 9 months, and we should have done because he barely played in those first 9 months anyway. So there's 110 million. Then you've got Rasmus Højlund. There's still question marks about Højlund. Still feel that he's lacking confidence. You could see it last night. Doesn't seem to be quite at it. You can feel the crowd sense it as well. That was 70-odd million quid. We've spent a lot of money on a lot of players who just ain't up to it. 80 million on Anthony, who's now gone to Real Betis. 70 million on Jadon Sancho, who's now playing for Chelsea. I mean, yes, the Glazers are the biggest problem. Manchester United have taken $1 billion out, put us $1 billion in debt with all the dividends and the leverage buyout and all the rest of it, and they've the root of all evil. But you look at the amount of money we have wasted on transfers, the amount of money we've wasted on transfers with this current squad, it is absolutely scandalous. Jamie Lomas says, got to be realistic. Onana not being replaced anytime soon, so he needs to be back. I don't think Dorgu is without blame. Or some blame for that first goal. I agree. You can't just say it's all on Onana. It's not. Dorgu's got to be a little bit more aware of where his goalkeeper is when he plays that pass. But I think there is a little bit of... I'd say it's sort of 70-30 if you're going to sort of apportion blame. 70% Dorgu, 30% Onana. But I'm not too concerned about Dorgu. I think there's a player there. Just got to get behind him. And he got a bit of a round of applause. I know some people might think that's a little bit bizarre, innit, giving someone a round of applause when they've been at fault for a goal and got sent off. But I get the crowd reaction there, getting when he was sent off, getting behind him. Let's support the kid. Hopefully he'll come back. We're going to miss him now. Is it 3-game ban he's got? Does the FA Cup count for that as well? I think it does, doesn't it? Yeah, so he'll miss the Fulham game, and is it Arsenal and another one which escapes me? But I think he'll be available for Sociedad. I think so anyway. Stephanie Griffith says, Dorgu gives us great balance on left-hand side. Yep, agree. BMW Racing 1974 says, Dorgu is a baller. Yes. Leicester. Of course, we're playing Leicester again. How could it be so foolish to forget we play Leicester every other week? So it'll be, as a few people have pointed out, he's going to miss Fulham in the FA Cup, then Arsenal and Leicester. It's a shame because we were looking a little bit better with him in the side, last night notwithstanding. So it is a little bit annoying. I feel for Ruben Amorim. He's got to be like, finally got a player who fits my system, who I want. And now he's suspended for 3 games. It's just even the positives have a negative, don't they? Even a win like last night has a negative to it. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen. We've been linked with him again. There's a story here in the Manchester Evening News. Napoli chief makes fresh Victor Osimhen transfer claim amid Man United links. We are working. Manchester United continue to be linked with a move for the informed striker, with Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and Newcastle said to be keen too. We've been linked with Victor Osimhen for quite a while. There was a report the other day that he's up for moving to Manchester United. Now we've got this from Napoli director Giovanni Manna. He's hoping for a swift resolution to Victor Osimhen's future at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. This summer, the Nigerian international will almost certainly leave the Serie A club after a public dispute last summer. The striker was in talks to join Chelsea, and the club even agreed a deal with Al Hayy before changing their asking price. It now seems as though United are in the mix with 1 or 2 others as well. The clubs that we've already mentioned. Look, if we could get Victor Osimhen, I think I'd be happy with that. There was a time when I was a little bit unsure about it, I'm not going to lie to you. But I think you have to look at where United are at and you have to look at the options available to us. I don't think we're going to get Gyökeres. That would probably be my first choice. Doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. You can see a quote here from Manor. It says, Victor is always got to be a hotly debated topic and not just on the transfer market. He is an appetising player for clubs. He has a clause and everyone knows this. We are working to find a solution as quickly as possible so that we can avoid what happened last year. Yeah, he was sort of left in no man's land money a little bit and then ended up obviously moving to Turkey. if we can get Victor Osimhen, I'll be happy with that. We need a striker. We probably need a striker with a little bit of experience. I know he's not old, is he? He's got experience though, even though he's in his 20s. So I think that would work if we ain't going to get Gyökeres. The other name that's being mentioned is Jonathan David. I think Jonathan David's available on a free. Again, I'd take that. I mean, we need someone, don't we? We need someone to come in and lead the line at Manchester United. I don't think Marcus Rashford's going to come back and lead the line for Manchester United. I don't know if Rasmus Højlund is going to get his mojo back and he's going to be the guy we need him to be. It could be an option. I just don't know if he's going to be the first choice number 9 that we'd like to see. Joshua Zirkzee, he's playing all right, but he's not a goal scorer and he's not even a striker, is he? He's more of a 10 or a 9.5, as I think he's been muted or he's been labelled. So someone like Victor Osimhen, it does make sense, doesn't it? Max Sinogu says Osimhen wants that 5-year, 300k contract. James Wood, I think, talking about Dorgu, saying, let's be honest, how many of us around 22 years of age was mature? This is our issues. Oh, sorry, it might be talking about Rasmus Højlund, to be fair. We need someone with age and experience. Rahil Amin says, I reckon we go for free David. Nathan Sayer says, Delac strikes me as a reincarnation of Vardy. Worth a look. Yeah, he is a good player, isn't he? Liam Delap. He showed that last night. He's a bit of a handful. Can we get him? Potentially. My only concern with Delap is he's another striker who's still quite young, who's on the cusp of maybe doing something big. Do we need someone with a little bit more experience? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Akash K says, Jay, this is controversial. I'd keep Delo as a squad player and bring in a right wing back. The issue here is how we fund Kenda, because we badly need sales. Now, Giovanni Kenda, who obviously got his start at Sporting under Ruben Amorim, was only young, was he 17, 18? I think he might still be 17. Been linked with a move to Manchester United. He would certainly fit into this system because it's the system that Ruben Amorim played at Sporting, and obviously you could slot straight in. I wouldn't mind seeing him come in. There has been a lot of rumours and reports that United are in for him and that deal is going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that, what you say, Akash. I don't even think that's that controversial. Delo's having one this season, isn't he? He's having a difficult season. And you have to question whether he is going to get back to the player that we saw last season. Is he really going to fit into this system? You would think a right back can play right wing back, and we've seen glimpses of it. And Delo, in theory, should be able to do that. I remember when he first came, his attacking prowess was a lot better. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. A lot depends on who goes. I know I'm a broken record with this, but Marcus Rashford's been all right at Aston Villa. I think some people got a bit carried away with he's back to his best and all this. I don't think he is. I think he's doing okay. We need him to do well at Aston Villa if he is going to get a permanent move, because I don't really think he's got a future at Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. You want Anthony to continue to do well. I know he got sent off recently for Real Betis, but on the whole, his start there has been very good, and I also thought that red card was very harsh. Jadon Sancho looks like that's going to happen. I think they have to finish above 14th to make that a permanent deal, and obviously they're going to do that. So Jadon Sancho to Chelsea looks like that is more or less a done deal. So maybe there's enough money there coming in, if those transfers happen, that you can go out and buy Kenda and a striker. Maybe, though, you have to make another signing. Maybe you have to sell someone like Alejandro Garnacho. What have we got here? I think this is, little post here from Galliandro. Oh, Garnacho. I think, can we get that on the screen? I think you've just been sent this, Heath. Garnacho's just posted on Instagram. He says, important 3 points, team, then this emoji, and then it's at Manchester United. So that, to me, and a picture of them all celebrating together, we'll get it on the... Have you got it, Eve? Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. Just whenever you get it, stick it up. So that feels like a bit of a response, doesn't it, to some of the noise and maybe what the manager said about his reaction. Again, just to reiterate, when he walked off, to me, it looked like he was signalling to the bench that he was going to get changed because he was soaking wet. That's what I saw. But we've seen this. This feels like, okay, bit of a backlash. We know Garnacho is on socials a lot. He's probably seen all the noise that's going on. Maybe the manager's already spoken to him if they've been in training already. Maybe someone else has had a word and said, look, your reaction, people are saying that it wasn't great. You need to show us something. Just maybe stick something on your socials to show that we're all in it together. And that's what he's done there. Can I be honest with you? There was a lot of fight last night with Manchester United, and we sort of, soldiered on when we went down to 10 men. But does seem to be a lack of cohesion with his team. There seems to be a lack of unity, especially in attack. I look at the likes of Xerxes, I look at Højlund, I look at Garnacho, and whether they're playing well or not, don't seem to always be on the same page. They don't seem to all get along. That might sound a little bit sort of melodramatic. What are you on about, Jay? They don't have to be all big bezies. But you remember last season when we had that sort of image of Garnacho, was it Garnacho, Menu and Højlund sat on the advertising board? You felt like there's a bit of team unity there. I'm not seeing it at the minute. Like, yes, Garnacho's posted a picture there of them all celebrating a goal together, which is the sort of the bare minimum. I mean, we didn't do that with the own goal, which I get because it's an own goal and it's probably a little bit of an embarrassment, like, Jesus wept, come on. But when I'm looking at these strikers or these attackers, they argue a lot, they sort of misplaced passes, maybe players not playing a pass when they should do. Garnacho and Højlund in particular don't really seem to be on the same page. I think the record between them two isn't great in terms of the amount of goals they've contributed to each other. I think it's something like 2. Like they've either set up each other up on in like 60 odd games, which is just amazing. It's so few. Then you look at someone like Xerxes who's come in and, you know, I'm not saying they don't like each other, they fell out completely, but it doesn't seem to be like they're all getting on. Do you know what I mean? Has anyone else noticed this? I notice it more when I'm at the game, because at the game, obviously, you're not just seeing what's happening with players on the ball. You're also seeing what's happening off the ball. I see a lot of arguing. I see a lot of, you know, Højlund in particular shouting at Garnacho a lot, losing his rag with him a lot. Garnacho tends to ignore him. He ignores him a lot of the time when he's got a pass on, and then he tends to ignore him when he's getting shouted at. I don't know. It just seems to be a little bit like the struggling for a little bit of unity there, especially amongst the attack. I see more of it in defence. Defensively, you see Delo and Maguire and De Ligt and Yoro. Delo loves a high five, doesn't he? I know there was a mix-up between Dorgu and Onana, so it's not like everything's rosy there. But the defenders at least seem to sort of talk to each other a little bit more and, you know, high fives on the rest of it. Attack-wise, I just notice it. There seems to be a little bit disjointed. Let me know what you think. Rahil Amin says that can be one issue of having young players. In great point, they're all quite young. And Akash K says they don't play as a team, Jay. And El says, Jay, Ghana doesn't trust Rasmus, and it's understandable why. And he's put hashtag trampoline foot. That's a bit harsh, but I understand your concerns about Rasmus Højlund. I've got some concerns myself. Look, I'm going to wrap it up there. Listen, thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. Really good chat, really good conversation. It does feel better when we win, doesn't it? I know it's only Ipswich, but just a win. Just a bit of, you know, it's not quite as gloomy after a win, even though there is the usual Manchester United-shaped controversy. We have to have a bit of controversy, don't we? We'll be back later on. We've got, I think the band's all back together. We've got me, Makola, Howson and Joe for Off the Bar. So make sure, if you've not done so already, you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Plus, you've got all the reaction from the Ipswich game already up on the channel. I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.